Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening as we call this 88th regular session to order. We'll have the invocation that will be given by Bishop Curtis Hayden, the pastor of Second Christian Church, and then we'll have the pledge to the flag. Bishop Hayden, if you would please, to the podium. If y'all would stand, please.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the great things you have done in this city. We thank you, dear Lord, for the fastly closing of this year. We pray, Father, that what is being done right now, Father God, is pleasing to you. Bless those who come before you, before this council. Bless the whole group, Father, with knowledge and understanding on how to deal with the issues. We thank you, Lord, for being God over this whole city. And we pray, Father, and we thank you for grace and for mercy applied to Hagerstown. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would be operating under the rules of procedure that became effective on October 22nd of this year. If you have a cell phone, please mute it. If you have any correspondence for the elected officials, please provide a copy to the city clerk for inclusion in the official record. The next meeting dates in December will be December 3rd and 10th are both work sessions at 4 p.m. and December 17th is a regular session at 7 p.m. There'll be no meeting on the 24th or the 31st. We have a couple board appointments this evening. We have a Board of Code Appeals, Terry Wishart, his term to expire November 30th of 2023. Lou, can I get a motion on that one?
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for Terry Wishart appointed to the Board of Code Appeals, term to expire November 30, 2023.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Motion carries 4-0. Sorry. Yes. On the Planning Commission, Christina Davis, her term to expire October 31st, 2024. Lou?
Move Christina Davis to the Planning Commission for a term to expire October 31, 2024.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We have some proclamations this evening. First one is Small Business Saturday, and the next is World AIDS Day. If I could get representatives from the small business to come forward. Okay, hi guys. All right, the proclamation is for Small Business Saturday, which is this Saturday, by the way, November 30th. And it says, whereas the city of Hagerstown believes that small businesses are the backbone of our local economy, generating jobs and improving the quality of life for citizens. Whereas the city of Hagerstown supports the efforts of local businesses and recognizes the critical role they play in our community to create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our neighborhoods. Whereas Small Business Saturday is a nationwide campaign that was created on November 27, 2010 by the credit card giant American Express. Small Business Saturday is as a way to cultivate business for merchants and small businesses on the Saturday following Thanksgiving. And whereas Small Business Saturday will stimulate economic growth locally for merchants by following the tradition of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, two of the busiest shopping days of the year. And whereas residents of Hagerstown and Washington County are encouraged to shop local and support the wonderful small businesses that our community has to offer. Now, therefore, with the support of the City Council, I, Robert E. Brucci II, Mayor of the City of Hagerstown, Maryland, do hereby recognize Saturday, November 30th, 2019 as Small Business Saturday and encourage residents to recognize and support small businesses within our community by shopping at these establishments on the Saturday following Thanksgiving, which means come Saturday, get out, come downtown, go to all the small businesses, buy all your Christmas presents all at one time. Right?
Yep.
There you go. I'm going to present this to Dieter and a few words to say.
Sure. So it's, I mean, I own a small business, which usually isn't really impacted by the Small Business Saturday because it's a photography studio. But I moved downtown, and I certainly enjoy being a small business, and I'm right at the edge now. But I'm also Main Street Chair, and we have Chris Kindlemark this weekend, which I'm one of the sponsors and organizers of. And there's certainly a lot of small businesses there in that market. We have 45 vendors. So we really want the town to come out and support that and buy from those small businesses who don't have a brick and mortar in town, like I do and like Dieter does. So
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 4 Saturday and 12 to 4 on Sunday. And
Downtown.
it is in the USMH Plaza, both of them. Yeah, both days. Yeah, we're just going to be set up and have police coverage to make sure not, everything is fine. Did you want to add something, Dieter? No, no rain.
No, they're ready to light the Christmas tree on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to add something?
No, I would like to thank Mayor as well as the City Council for the recognition, and I'm thank in all of the name of all of the downtown businesses, small businesses, for this recognition, for a good holiday season, what we are kicking off this weekend. And I think even with all the construction going on, winding down, getting better, I think everybody in downtown is ready for the Christmas season, and hopefully everybody has a happy and joyful Christmas.
All right, okay. Eric, get a photo? Photoshop me out later. Thank you, guys. All right. Mr. Jones? So the second proclamation is, as I said, for World's AIDS Day, which is December the 1st. Get my eyes on here. 2019. And it reads, whereas World's AIDS Day is observed annually on December 1st, highlighting worldwide effort to combat HIV and AIDS, a worldwide effort to show support for those living with HIV and AIDS, and to remember those who have died from the infection. While antiretroviral therapy has transformed HIV/AIDS from a nearly always fatal infection into a manageable chronic condition, HIV remains a global threat requiring dedicated efforts from all of us to increase communication, education, and awareness while reducing stigma, myth, and the infection itself. And whereas globally an estimated 37.9 million people are living with HIV as of 2018, yet 1 in 7 do not know they are infected, making the need for routine testing and treatment vital in reducing the potential to transmit the virus. And whereas approximately 32 million people have died since the pandemic began, making it one of the most destructive pandemics in history. And whereas nationally, 1.1 million people live with HIV, regionally, 31,559 people live with HIV in Maryland, and locally, 349 persons live with HIV in Washington County. And whereas World's AIDS Day serves as a reminder for citizens to continually educate themselves about HIV, get tested regularly, remain in care if positive, and always practice compassion for those infected and affected. Now therefore be resolved with the support of the City Council, I, Robert E. Brucci II, Mayor of the City of Hagerstown, Maryland, do hereby affirm its commitment to public health and proclaim December 1st, 2019 as World's AIDS Day in Hagerstown, Maryland.
As most of you in the room probably remember, when AIDS first broke out and we saw it all in the news, and it was a deadly disease. I was about 5 years old at the time, and since that time we have lost many lives but made many advances from a deadly disease to a manageable chronic condition with an average life expectancy now for those infected. PrEP is available to keep people from becoming infected if they come in contact with the virus, And we've even seen a few functional cures. Maybe we'll live to see a cure in our lifetime. In fact, American Gene Technologies, based in Rockville, is testing a single-dose drug that has the purpose of eradicating HIV from the body. In the meantime, we need to stay abreast of the new medical findings, reduce stigma that stems from misinformation, such as people still believing that it's a gay disease or that you can get it from kissing. These have been proven untrue long ago. Most importantly, this day serves as a reminder not to become complacent, to stay aware, and to always treat everyone with love and compassion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for issuing this proclamation to remind us, and I'm proud to accept the proclamation on behalf of Connection 6-8 United Church of Christ.
Thank you very much, and you have great eyesight there. There's no way I could have read that. All righty then. Next up, citizen comments, and these are agenda item citizen comments that we're actually discussing this evening. I don't, oh, sorry. Comments. Okay, agenda item is Mr. Devine. You're talking about agenda items on the agenda this evening, right, Jimmy? Okay, please come forward. Yep.
Does that count towards the citizen comment?
Well, I mean, what do you want to speak twice? Buddy, I'll always give you the opportunity. Please come forward and speak now. You'll get your 5 minutes, buddy.
On the monthly speed cameras, I think you should put a sign up that says you have to stop behind the white line. Most people don't know they're driving, so they're going past the white line. They get caught with the camera flashing all the time. The approval of the power service, is there something in there that would help with solar power hookups or solar energy hooks up that people would want to incorporate in their construction or homes in the city? And let me see here. Well, the municipal stadium, you know that paper plan across from the municipal stadium should have never been there in the first place. You know, it was Segi's project, and it put out fumes. It's like most industries. At night they dumped all the fumes out, and it was like mist sometimes walking down through there, stunk. But actually, I thought that's where the stadium should have been. The new stadium should have been built on that land, you know, or even incorporate some of the hospital property that's now vacant, you know, into the stadium. But it would be nice just to keep it in town. That's all I have to say on the agenda.
Thank you, Jimmy. Anybody else on agenda item issues? Okay, moving on. The approval of minutes, please.
Mayor, I move for the approval of minutes is presented from mayor and council meetings held on October 1, 8/15, and 22nd, all 2019.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, hereby move that all the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No unfinished business, that's always good. Introduction of an ordinance, Chapter 64, Building Construction, Article 3.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to introduce an ordinance to amend the code of the city of Hagerstown, Chapter 64, Article 3, Property Maintenance, to update the nuisance, ice, and snow requirements to provide more time to clear public sidewalks. This update will establish the same standards for the city. This amendment will provide a community, business-friendly approach and be more consistent with neighboring communities.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval resolution, policy on removal of snow from sidewalks.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council update the resolution on the policy for the removal of snow from sidewalks. The update reflects the changes to the city department structure, changes to the nuisance snow and ice code, and provides direction on vacant and/or abandoned properties with snow and ice conditions.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Introduction of an annexation resolution, I-81 CSX Halfway Boulevard right-of-way, case number A-2019-01.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council introduce an annexation resolution for an annexation known as the I-81 CSX Halfway Boulevard right-of-way for the transportation corridor right-of-ways. The portion of property to be annexed is approximately 95.64 acres in size and is intended to be added to and made part of the adjacent municipal lands.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of an annexation plan, I-81 CSX Halfway Boulevard right-of-way, case number A-2019-01.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move the mayor and city council approve an annexation plan, an annexation known as the I-81 CSX Halfway Boulevard right-of-way for the transportation corridor right-of-ways. The portion of property to be annexed is approximately 95.64 acres in size and is intended to be added to and made part of the adjacent municipal land.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, the Third Amendment to Agreement with the American Traffic Solutions, Inc., ATS, doing business as Vera Mobility, for the purposes of providing a digital red light camera system and related office services.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of a resolution to approve a third amendment to the agreement with American Traffic Solutions Incorporated, doing business as Vera Mobility. This amendment is to secure their assistance with installation, approval of locations, training, technical, and other support relating to the red light camera system in the city. Approval of the amendment extends the contract until December 31st, 2020.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of a resolution, the easement agreement between the City of Hagerstown and the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve the attached resolution and easement agreement between the City of Hagerstown and the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, Maryland, for a perpetual easement on Showalter Road as described in the attached deed of easement and maintenance agreement.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of resolution, automatic and mutual aid firefighting rescue and EMS agreement.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for mayor and council approval of a resolution accepting the automatic and mutual aid firefighting rescue and EMS agreement between the mayor and council of the City of Hagerstown and the Board of County Commissioners of Washington County, Maryland. This agreement articulates equitable levels of in-kind services while delivering high-quality and efficient services to the residents of Hagerstown and Washington County.
Second.
Discussion.
Just a couple of comments. As I indicated at our preliminary review of the agenda, and I think I've said on a number of occasions as we've reviewed this agreement, on its face, I continue to believe that this is a bad deal for the City of Hagerstown. I still have some significant consternation with item 2B, the automatic aid, and the use of the word jurisdictions rather than parties in that section, as I believe it's referring to the parties and not jurisdictions as it's defined elsewhere. I also have some concern with item number 5, automatic aid unit, where the second to last sentence includes the term is, are available, and who will make that determination. And I also have some concern with the last, the third to last sentence in number 7, nothing in this agreement will be construed against the city with respect to the computation of the tax differential applied to the city taxpayers. This is by far the largest inequity that exists on tax differential currently for the city taxpayer. And the last sentence which I believe was added by an entity that has no standing, frankly, in this agreement between the two parties, which seeks some form, has yet to be seen, of immunity for the Washington County Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association independent companies. I will tell you that, as I left the last discussion on this and gave it some additional thought, it dawned on me that if you use the term parties in item 2B to represent the county and the city, this agreement makes much more sense, simply because what's being said is that each of the companies will not function as independent jurisdictional companies, but rather they will simply be two entities or two companies, if you will, operating here. And given that explanation provided at the meeting in which the mutual chief of directors spoke to us, that seems to be much more clear as it applies to this yet-to-be-determined 50% rule. The reality is, I give the benefit of the doubt to two men that I have great respect for, Chief Lohr and Director Hayes. I think that if anybody can drag this system into the current century in which it belongs, it is you two gentlemen. It is not an easy task. I do not envy the road ahead for you as it applies to that. And while I have great faith in your ability to do so, I have some doubt in the political fortitude to make it happen. And so those are the concerns that I have, and I think that those will be yet to be seen as this agreement plays out over the next year or so. So, thank you.
Anybody else? If there's anybody that I know that has a working knowledge of this issue, it is Mr. Alshire, and I definitely respect his stance on these issues. So we'll call the vote. I don't believe we'll get his. But all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. There you have it. Proven wrong again. All right. Power Services Agreement Amendment Number 7 with First Energy Solutions.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that the mayor and city council approve Power Services Agreement Amendment Number 7 with First Energy Solutions to immediately reduce the full requirements contract rate and to provide a mechanism to recalculate the rate following any changes in the energy market related to renewable energy credits.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of retainer agreement for our city legal services.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for mayor and council approval of the attached retainer agreement with Salvatore Morton LLC to serve as general legal counsel for the city of Hagerstown for 3 calendar years, beginning January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2022. Per the contract, the terms may be renegotiated for the 2023 calendar year.
Second.
We'll give that to Lou. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve of an exemption for City Code Chapter 155, noise.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for the approval of an exemption from the City Code, Chapter 155, noise. This exemption is being granted in accordance with Section 155-5M to the City Chapel and Pastor Zachary Camp for events on Sundays from December 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2020. The services will be held from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 227 East Washington Street at the corner of East Washington and Cannon. In addition to the exemption, permits for an assembly and erecting a tent are required.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of municipal stadium improvements for the 2020 season.
Mr. Mayor, consistent with the terms of the lease and amendments, I hereby move for the approval of $35,000 for improvements at Municipal Stadium as follows. Allowance for additional hood vent and fan for additional concession area, $10,000. Replace rubber dugout flooring, $250. Repair picnic tables, $500. Supply paint for masonry exterior wall, $2,250. Power Wash and Treat Beer Garden, $4,000. Finish repairs to third base bleachers, $13,000. Replace door groundskeeper building, $1,000. Outfield masonry wall repairs, $4,000. I authorize staff to complete the work in-house or by contract prior to the start of the 2020 Hagerstown Suns baseball stadium season. Funding for the project is from rent paid by the Suns.
Second.
I'll give that one to Austin. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Haven Road Sidewalk Project, approval to reprogram local match source of funds.
Mr. Mayor, we move to authorize staff to reprogram the source of local funds for this project from state aid funds to general fund balance. The project budget is $565,000, of which 80% is funded by the Safe Routes to Schools programs, and the 20% balance requires a local match. State Highway will not approve our state aid allocation as a source of local funds for our match.
Second.
Discussion. It's a shame when a state agency tells you for 2 years that they are going to allow you to use that state aid match to be a match for this, and then pulls the rug out from under you, making us dip into our reserve fund in order to pay our 20% match. Disappointing. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So much I could say.
Approval of an application for fiscal year 2021 program open space projects.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval of an application to Washington County requesting FY 2021 program open space development funding for improvements to the city's recreational facilities as follows. Fairgrounds Park, BMX track improvements, $50,000. City Park, new restrooms for use by softball and train hub, $135,000. Various parks, safety mats, play equipment, $105,300. Antietam Creek Waterway Trail, Mount Etna Road Site, $45,000.
Second.
Discussion. Rodney, when we find get the funds for the $105,300 for the various parks, is there a possibility, I remember a while back, probably a year ago or two, I sent you a handicap swing that could fit a wheelchair. Is there a possibility to get something like that in this
Yeah,
funds?
we can definitely look at that. We didn't really itemize what items.
I
were
understand,
fine, so-
I understand. Just put my ask in again, that's all.
Okay. I will say that we do have a merry-go-round in City Park now that a wheelchair can physically
Yeah.
sit on.
We appreciate that. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of motion authorizing utilization of Eventbrite to sell tickets and/or merchandise at events.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to authorize the utilization of Eventbrite to sell tickets and/or merchandise at events organized by the Department of Community and Economic Development.
Second.
Discussion.
I have a question. Do we look at local vendors for this? I only ask that because with Washington Goes Purple, what's going on in what's in your neighborhood? Valpak handles all of our Eventbrite services, but they're a local company and they have lesser fees. I just wasn't sure if we had looked at local options before going to an online national.
We have been currently utilizing this for some very small events, and we anticipate using it potentially this weekend for the Christkindl Market. We hope after the events are done to be able to look at the volume that is transacting through this and to potentially issue a request for proposals or competitive pricing.
Sounds logical.
So this is a step that recognizes the utilization of this for very small-scale events, including this weekend.
Okay.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, time for general citizen comments. And the first person up is Jimmy Devine.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council, James Blind, Post Office Box 2217, Hagerstown, Maryland. I come to speak about some of the political climates that are around. One of the two major parties is dominated by extremists and dedicated to destroying the social fabric of this country. I've never seen a country so divided between two parties. It's based on false facts, false evidence, propaganda stations, Fox News. The Federalist number 65 paper of Alexander Hamilton, it was high crimes is abuse or violation of some public trust that relate chiefly to injuries done immediately to the society. But and this is what this president has done, and the Republican parties, and the people that support him. But when Scalia passed away, the people of faith and religion saw their opportunity to impose their values on the public at large. Republican-dominated parties in the nation started legislation to restrict reproductive rights. But let me ask, who in this room has the authority to tell me what to do with my body or my life? Anybody? You could speak up. But that's what they're doing, and it's an assault. It's assault on the democracy. It's an assault on people. It's assault on women. But it's even more than that. When I hear people like the evangelist Franklin Graham, Billy Graham's son, they're talking about this president of being some type of God. And they're saying anybody that opposes him is a demon. That's atrocious. The attack on free speech is atrocious. You know, this president is so bad, but the people of religion and faith support him. You know, and that is even worse. You know, I went to the rally he had in Hagerstown before he became president. I didn't want to see him. I wanted to see what mob mentality looked like. But I didn't have to see it. I heard it. I stood outside the fence, and when he came in and talked about immigration in Mexico and sending them all back, you know, it was a mob mentality that I heard. But it's sad in this society that it comes to this, where a president is using his office, and really, he's pandering to the religious right. He's pandering to them in Israel. It makes the situation worse instead of better. And it's an attack on society. It's an attack on religion. But it's you know, I don't know what God they're talking about. Maybe it's Zeus or Thor that they're talking about. But at one time, paganism was a religion. So should there be more charter schools with paganism in it? You know, I think the churches and people of faith and religion has overreached their authority. The Second Amendment said there was a separation between church and state. It was breached this last election. It was breached because the people of religion and faith imposed their will and their authority to elect an idiot to run this country just for their own personal gains. I hear more preachers talking politics than religion. And you know, that's out of their territory. You know, and this planet's been here for over 4 billion years. The universe almost 14 billion years. You know, and the population, the planet is destroying it. The people are destroying it. The water's polluted, the land's polluted. It reminds me of a piece of bread where the ants are eating at it, and it's all gone. You know, the population has to be controlled somehow in the future. The environment has to be controlled. We are on the cusp of an environmental disaster. The oceans are taking up the carbon. When the oceans warm, methane is released from the bottom, and it increases the environment, the caustic environment. You know, and how many people on this planet is going to be able to survive? The future of this planet isn't in control of the population. Thank you. My time's up.
All right, Jimmy, I'm going to tell you, I don't know, apparently you have not been given the information about the new rules of procedure that were adopted by this administration back in October. Part of that consisted of citizen comments, and part of those comments in this section consisted of things that are Hagerstown centric, okay? Please let me finish, you had your 5 minutes.
Okay.
Not nationally, okay? But it had to do with the city of Hagerstown, which is why we offer this time for citizens to have comments. So in the future, now I didn't stop you, and
Okay.
I actually should have, but I didn't. But in the future, if you could keep your comments to things that pertain to the city of Hagerstown, things that this body has control over, that's what this section of comments is for, okay?
Okay, well, can't you do something about their legislators in Annapolis then? Is that something you have?
I don't have any
Because
control
they're
over
all
them, just so you know.
Republicans,
Yeah.
And a lot of them needs replaced, you
Yeah.
know?
I wish I'd brought my Make America Great Again hat tonight. I'd put it on right now.
A what?
I didn't bring it, so.
Hey, I'm sorry, I heard you say something about the Christmas.
Thank you.
Gonna be
Thank
next
you, buddy.
Saturday. I already plugged it in.
Take care.
Thank you.
Mr. Kenjani, Anthony? This does have something to do with this.
It does.
Thank you. Yes.
So my name is Anthony Kanjemi. I'm a resident of Hagerstown. And I want to thank you, Mayor and City Council, for all the hard work that you guys do and your dedication to our city. I promise to be brief. I've timed my comments so they take no more than 2.5 minutes. So I would like to discuss the cannabis grow facility here in Hagerstown called Kind Therapeutics. According to federal law, the growth of cannabis is illegal in every state, including Maryland. Early this year, I attended a breakfast hosted by the Washington County Chamber of Commerce. Two of the members of this council were at that meeting and actually sat with me at the table. This facility operates within city limits of Hagerstown, and what I assume is the consent and approval of this council. And perhaps at this point, you would expect me to disagree with the decision to allow this facility to operate in Hagerstown in disregard of federal law, but I do not. I wholeheartedly agree that this council's decision to defy the federal law regarding the prohibition against the growth of cannabis. I applaud you. Refusing to obey unjust, immoral laws and decrees dictated to us by the federal government is not only a right, but a moral obligation. Recently, citizens, including myself, have been denied our inalienable right given to us by God and not by government to free speech in the public square, sometimes by the city council. That is done because some of the city council do not like what's being said. Councilman Metzner and others have commented that abortion is a national issue and that the law of the land and this body has no authority or power to effect change locally in defiance of the federal government. Well, that is not true. This city council is defying the federal government at this very moment by allowing Kind Therapeutics to operate within our city. A colleague of mine is quoted as saying, "Inconsistency is the sure sign of a failed argument." I'm calling on this city council to be consistent in their defiance of the federal government by closing down Hagerstown Reproductive Health and making Hagerstown a sanctuary city for the preborn. Thank you for your time and have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you. Anybody else? Marvin, you didn't sign up. Come on up, buddy.
I'm Marvin Lohr, live in Sunnyside Drive in Hagerstown. Downtown Hagerstown has been known for a number of empty things like empty whiskey bottles, empty beer bottles, empty buildings, empty stores, and empty display windows. Well, apparently, the empty beer bottles and empty whiskey bottles have disappeared, thanks to someone in the council. So now it's time to work on something else. And maybe Austin would know what I'm talking about. used to be Woodward loaves in D.C. Christmas time, they used to have these mechanical displays in the window, and people would flock to D.C. to see them. I was a trip, my family took me down almost all the time. Now, you have a robotics club in South High, and I'm sure there's others in the school system too. Why can't they start doing some robotic things in the empty store windows downtown to draw people? Get some foot traffic down here. Foot traffic would draw more businesses, I'm sure. And you could have the robotics things on a seasonal thing. You could have a Christmas one, a winter one, an Easter one, a 4th of July one, Labor Day type, Thanksgiving, and back to Christmas. And you'd have a continuous flow of people. Now you know people come downtown. You have an event, and it's a lot of people. But then that's it. It's a one-day deal or a two-day deal, and you have to wait a month or so before another one comes. This way, you would have them always in the windows, always changing, and having people come and take a look at them. Now, another thing, the poor lady that's on, what's it, Prospect Street, that sits on the sidewalk day and night? Is there anything can be done for that lady? I know she has refused help from private people. But it's a shame, you know, cold weather coming in. I know she must have problems. But it looks like somebody could do something. And that's it.
Thank you, Marvin. Anybody else? Okay. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. I got a couple of things here. Just to reiterate, Small Business Saturday is this Saturday. Come downtown and visit some of the small businesses, while also to reiterate the Chris Kindle Market Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4, Sunday 12 to 4, rain or shine in University Plaza. The Public Square tree lighting, which is Saturday at 5 o'clock. Activities begin at 5, the lighting's around 6. Holly Fest at the Maryland Theater at 1:30 on Saturday. Also a very nice annual event. I want to say thanks to the Hagerstown Youth Advisory Council for picking what I think is going to be the prettiest tree we've had in the square for many, many years.
Shaped up that way.
Yep. And thanks also to the light department and to public works staff for setting and decorating the tree, and also to Hagerstown Hopes for putting nice ornaments up on the tree. Also, thanks to all the staff that are working this holiday, including our public safety staff and our DCED staff and the volunteers that are working the Chris Kindle and the other events this weekend. It's taken time away from their families, and I appreciate their work and time in getting this event going. Lastly, a little Thanksgiving surprise for you. Park staff approached Rodney, and Rodney came to me about a week ago with an idea to celebrate our community and the parts of our lives and the parts of Hagerstown that we're thankful for during this holiday season. If you take a look at the monitors, you'll see what became of that idea. Hopefully.
Pretty dim idea.
Trouble with your Wi-Fi.
Must be a TV cable.
Dropping wet turkeys on
They'll be dropping.
There, we'll see if they fly.
Very nice. Thanks to Wes Decker and Eric Hastings for producing the video, but a really special thanks to Amy Riley, who brought this idea to Rodney. She saw it at a conference she went to recently and thought this would be something very appropriate to share with not only city staff that you saw many of in that video, but also members of the community. Because, you know, it's important not only during Thanksgiving, but all the time to reflect and realize those things that we can be truly thankful for. We live in a great community with great people, with a great heritage, and even greater possibilities. Regardless of all the negativity and all the bad news we're subjected to on a 24/7 basis, we have to always remain thankful for the blessings provided to us and for the blessings in the days to come. The best is squarely in front of this community, and that is one of the things I am most thankful for. Happy Thanksgiving to our great city staff, to our mayor and council, and to all of the citizens of Hagerstown on behalf of the city staff. Thanks.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott. The beautiful words, and thank you, Rodney, and for all that. I really was.
Comments?
I'm sorry?
These your comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, my comments.
Go ahead.
No, it's not my comments.
okay.
I'm commenting on what was said. I just want to say, I was halfway hoping that Rodney was going to reinstitute the turkey drop, because I was going to donate the airplane.
That'd have been great, yeah. Mr. Elshire.
Just a comment to one of the speakers earlier that alluded to, I was one of the members at that chamber breakfast, just for awareness. I'm also the member of council that voted against the process to allow for that facility within the city limits, not because I disagree with that initiative, but because I felt that it was a violation of my oath of office as it applies to respecting the federal rule of law. So I feel completely comfortable in my position of consistency as it applies to those matters.
And you have been. Thank you. Austin?
Just wanted to reiterate what Scott said. For anybody that says there's nothing to do in Hagerstown, this weekend is definitely points to that's wrong. I was sitting at the traffic light down at the square today, this morning, watching them decorate the tree, and I almost sat through the red light twice. 'Cause that tree is really looking nice.
It is, and
So it's going to be a great weekend.
it's the best one I've seen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott and Rodney and everyone else for that video, Amy, for that idea. I hope that the cover of the newspaper tomorrow is every single thing you just said. And I think we should play that on loop on our television channel, on our YouTube channel, on Facebook, because that's what matters in this community, the really great things that we have going on. I do think the gentleman that put music over his wife is probably going to be in trouble later on today. But overall, I mean, it's just incredible. So thank you guys for that. And thank you to everyone who came to the West End meeting last week. It was a really good turnout. I think we're going to have some good solutions from it. And we're looking forward to the downtown meeting on December 3rd. But first, let's all take a couple days to eat a bunch of food and relax with our family.
What time are the meetings on the 3rd? There's 2, correct?
Yeah, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. at Bridge of Life Church.
Both of them?
Yes.
Okay. Lou?
Thank you, Mayor. I had no idea, Scott, obviously, that had been put together. And I say that because when I was riding over to the meeting tonight and the thought of Thanksgiving, I was thinking very similar things, what do we have to be thankful for? And without getting into any pie in the sky stuff, much more related to our position here, I have to tell you what I was thinking about when Emily got elected, when Shelley and Austin, I think I had conversations with them all. And one of the things I believe I told all of them is you're just going to be shocked about staff. And about that you're going to go up there and you're going to suddenly feel like you're being treated like royalty. When you ask for something, it gets done far beyond whatever you imagined. And we spend a lot of times being thankful for people like our first responders, fire and rescue, and our electrical workers, and the people out at 3 in the morning digging ditches for the water main breaks. But who we rarely talk about are those people on the second floor, Danny, Donna, the people that grease this oil to make us actually look like we know what we're doing up here when it comes to the administrative aspects of life. And so I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all the staff in the city. Whether you're working dangerous jobs at 3 in the morning, or whether you're sitting behind the computer trying to make the city work, there is a great devotion in this town for the people who work in this city, and I just want to thank every one of them and wish a happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the community, and say ditto as it comes to the tree. Thank you. Shelley?
So was it Paul or Megan that is thankful for vegetables?
It had to be Paul.
I don't know, I think it might be Megan.
Cherries and bananas.
Yeah, so
I like the kittens myself.
the kittens
Cats.
was the whiskers, yeah. They were pretty good. Thank you. That was a great present, Scott. You win. That was cool. I too was thinking of all the things that I was thankful for on the way here. And what are you going to say during your comments? You know, it's kind of intimidating sometimes, but you know what I'm thankful for? Not only city staff and public safety officials, you know, all the things that we all talk about, but I am so thankful for you guys. So, fellow council members, Mr. Mayor, you guys listen to our ideas and we collaborate together, and we're trying so hard to do exactly what Scott's saying, is to make things so much better for this community. And although we may not agree all the time, interestingly enough, I think that we all work really hard, and I'm really proud to be a part of this council. So thank you very, very much. And Emily's right. Please come out to the community discussion on Tuesday so we can all work together to create solutions to make it even better here.
Effective leadership.
Effective
All right,
leadership.
mine are going to be along the same lines. I'm going to piggyback a little bit off of what Kristen said there earlier about the comments from one of our citizens. You know, my oath of office also has me bearing true allegiance to the federal government, also the state of Maryland. And the state of Maryland has said that medical cannabis is legal. And so they took that first step. Since the state of Maryland is a lot more local to what we can do here and what we get accomplished than the federal government actually is, I got to tell you. But I understand what you were trying to do. I truly do. So the next time you come to speak, I'll explain to you the same thing I explained to Mr. Devine. You started off with a local issue that turned into a national issue. Please, try to keep it local. That's all we ask. So, I got to tell you, I picked up my grandson from school, which I do every day, with the highlight of my day. And yesterday, on the drive home, he said, "Ask me what I'm thankful for, Papa." And I said, "Okay, what are you thankful for?" He said, "Our veterans." He said, "Because they let me play, I get to watch games, I get to watch TV, I can go to McDonald's, I can do," and I said, "You know what, buddy? Thank you. I really appreciate that, because you're 100% correct." So, let's keep all of our veterans in our thoughts and prayers over the holiday week, not just Thanksgiving, but into Christmas. And let's keep an eye on our guys out there every day, keeping our city safe. So, you guys be safe, and thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next Tuesday. We're adjourned.